Eric Quinn, an ecologist from the University of Sheffield, dedicated his career to wildlife recovery in human-impacted areas. For 5 years, his focus had been the Chernobyl exclusion zone, a vast abandoned region transformed by a nuclear disaster in 1986. Despite its tragic history, the zone had become a remarkable site for studying nature's resilience as life flourished in the absence of human interference. Each trip allowed Eric to gather critical data on this unlikely sanctuary where wolves roamed freely and rare birds nested in forgotten structures. Equipped with drones, cameras, and sensors, Eric documented changes in the landscape and monitored animal movements to understand ecosystem recovery after severe disruptions. But today, Eric's routine took an unexpected turn. As his drone hovered over a dense forest, he observed the usual wildlife: deer, wild boars, even a lone wolf. Then, at the edge of his monitor, he noticed a small, unusual shape in a clearing. Adjusting the drone's position, he heard a strange mewing sound, which grew louder as the drone drew closer. It was a living creature in distress. Zooming in, he discovered a young bear cub caught in an old, rusty trap. The cub struggled, its fur tangled in the metal, eyes wide with fear. Eric's heart ached as he realized the cub's mother would likely be nearby. Though rushing in to help was too dangerous, Chernobyl's landscape still held radioactive hotspots, requiring caution and specialized gear. He quickly contacted the wildlife management team trained for rescues in the exclusion zone. Just then, he noticed movement in the bushes nearby. The mother bear appeared, her worried eyes scanning the trap. She tried with all her strength to free her cub, but the trap held firm, and each attempt caused the cub to whimper in pain. Eric kept his eyes on the screen, hoping help would arrive in time. Eric watched with a mix of hope and helplessness as the mother bear relentlessly tried to free her cub, pushing and pawing at the unforgiving trap. Her determination was palpable. She leaned back, then lunged forward, shifting her weight and trying different angles to no avail. After each attempt, she paused to lick her cub's head, offering a moment of comfort before resuming her desperate efforts. As he observed, Eric couldn't help but wonder how a trap ended up in this protected zone, meant to be a sanctuary for wildlife away from human interference. Chernobyl was supposed to be a place for nature to reclaim, free from threats. The sight of the trap was a disturbing reminder that human intrusions hadn't fully vanished. Suddenly, another rustling sound caught Eric's attention. He adjusted the drone's camera and saw figures moving through the brush. But these weren't members of the wildlife management team. They were poachers, armed with rifles and carrying additional traps, chuckling cruelly as they approached the clearing. Quickly, Eric maneuvered the drone to capture their faces and equipment, knowing these images would be vital for identifying them later. Heart-pounding, he contacted the wildlife management team again. There are poachers heading toward the bear and her cub, he reported urgently. They're armed and dangerous. We need backup here immediately. Back in the clearing, the mother bear sensed the approaching danger. She placed herself protectively between her cub and the source of the noise, her stance signaling her readiness to defend at any cost. The cub, feeling its mother's tension, fell silent, its cries turning into a soft, fearful whine. From above, Eric monitored the situation, feeling a mix of helplessness and determination. Capturing this footage was vital, not only to help with the cub's rescue and deter the poachers, but also to expose these illegal activities threatening the sanctuary. As the poachers closed in, Eric knew he had only moments to act. The group spread out, attempting to encircle the bears. One poacher aimed a tranquilizer gun at the mother, while another dragged a reinforced cage across the ground, and a third carried bolt cutters, likely to release the cub once they controlled the mother. Eric acted immediately, using his only tool, the drone. He swooped it lower, maneuvering it to buzz close over the poachers' heads, creating a loud, disorienting sound. The poachers looked up in confusion, one shouting angrily as they were momentarily distracted. Eric seized the moment to steer them away from the bears. A tense standoff ensued, with Eric using the drone to keep the poachers at bay. The mother bear remained alert, her protective instincts heightened by the unfamiliar threat. Just when it seemed things would escalate further, one of the poachers, frustrated by the drone's interference, raised his rifle and fired. The gunshot cracked through the forest, startling everyone, including the bears. The poachers froze, realizing the gunfire could draw unwanted attention. With hurried shouts, their leader ordered a retreat, and they quickly scattered into the forest, leaving behind only the sound of snapping twigs as they disappeared into the underbrush. Relieved but still vigilant, Eric kept the drone hovering, capturing the poachers' retreat. He was grateful that his unconventional intervention had prevented a direct confrontation and possible harm to the bears. Shortly after, the rumble of approaching vehicles broke the tense silence of the Chernobyl forest. The rescue team had arrived. They quickly exited their trucks and assessed the situation. The team leader approached Eric's position, nodding as Eric filled him in on the details. The thick underbrush and uneven ground posed significant obstacles, preventing the rescue vehicles from getting too close. Additionally, the presence of the mother bear added a layer of complexity to their operation. The team set up ropes and tools, coordinating their approach to the cub while being cautious not to alarm its protective mother. They prepared a tranquilizer gun to safely sedate her, ensuring everyone's safety and allowing them to free the cub without interference. Specialized equipment was also ready to carefully dismantle the old, rusty trap holding the cub. Despite their expertise, they struggled with the dense foliage, which concealed much of the trap's mechanism. Thick and tangled, the underbrush complicated access to the cub, and each passing minute heightened the urgency as the cub's low, distressed cries filled the air. Eric monitored the rescue from above, the drone providing a live feed of the tense operation. He saw both the determination on the rescuers' faces and the growing concern. Time was critical, and their first attempts had not gone smoothly. The team regrouped, deciding to clear more of the brush and employ a more precise tool to dismantle the trap safely. With renewed focus, they used heavy-duty shears to cut back the underbrush, allowing them better access without further distressing the cub or its mother, who remained sedated nearby under watchful eyes. One of the rescuers, skilled in trap removal, finally reached the cub. Exhausted and fearful, the young bear lay still, watching with tired eyes. Using specialized tools, the rescuer carefully began unlocking the trap. Every movement was slow and deliberate, each one crucial to freeing the cub without causing additional harm. As the rescuer carefully worked the trap's locking mechanism, another team member prepared a soft blanket, ready to wrap the cub to keep it warm and calm once freed. Meanwhile, Eric continued documenting the operation, knowing how valuable this footage would be for training and awareness campaigns, underscoring the unexpected threats faced by wildlife even in protected zones. Finally, with a soft click, the trap opened. A collective sigh of relief spread. The team was struck by the weight of their rescue effort. They had not only saved a life but also protected an important member of a study essential to understanding Chernobyl's ecological recovery. The conservationist elaborated, this cub's family is being closely watched for their ability to adapt to these unique conditions. Data from this cub and its family are critical to understanding how species can persist in post-disaster environments. Losing this cub would have been a major setback. As the team absorbed the information from the conservationist, the tranquilizer on the mother bear began to wear off. The rescuers, aware of the risks, positioned themselves at a safe distance but stayed close enough to monitor her reaction carefully. They wanted her to see her cub, now freed from the trap, safe and being gently cared for by the veterinarians. They had wrapped the cub in a soft blanket, comforting it and keeping it warm on the cold forest floor. The air was thick with tension as everyone watched the mother bear stir, anticipating her reaction. Slowly, the mother bear began to regain her senses, her eyes flickering open. At first, she seemed disoriented, lifting her head slightly as if trying to remember where she was. Then, as her vision cleared, she spotted her cub close by. Her expression softened immediately. She lumbered over to her cub, her first instinct to sniff and nuzzle it, checking it over with a tenderness that moved everyone in the clearing. The bear's relief was evident as she gently licked her cub, conveying a sense of reassurance. Eric watched this touching reunion from the monitor of his drone, carefully documenting each moment. The gentle way the mother bear checked over her cub, combined with the cub's exhausted but grateful responses, made for a heartwarming scene. Eric knew that these images and footage would resonate deeply with anyone who watched them, underscoring the powerful bond between mother and child, even in the animal world. With the bears safe and reunited, the rescue team began the slow process of packing up. They discussed their plan for the next few days, agreeing to monitor the bears from a distance to ensure the cub fully recovered from its ordeal. They knew the experience of being trapped had likely traumatized it, and they wanted to ensure it returned to its natural behavior without lingering fear or injury. The team decided they would set up discreet monitoring stations along the perimeter of the area to track the bears' movements without disturbing them. This way, they could intervene again if either bear showed signs of distress. Eric felt an overwhelming sense of relief and pride as the vehicles began to leave the clearing. Today's operation had not only saved these two animals, but also supported a larger conservation effort. The footage he captured would serve as a powerful reminder of the threats that wildlife face, even in places like the Chernobyl exclusion zone, where human activity is minimal. Despite being a designated sanctuary, Chernobyl was not immune to illegal poaching and other dangers, and the incident emphasized the need for continued vigilance in protecting these rare habitats. As he reflected on the day's events, Eric realized that this mission had been more than a simple rescue. It was a testament to nature's resilience and a sobering reminder of the ongoing impact humans have on fragile ecosystems. The cub's survival and its reunion with its mother symbolized hope, and Eric knew this story would inspire others to respect and protect wild spaces. The journey back to base gave him time to consider the broader implications of their work. Conservation efforts like these weren't only about saving individual animals, but also about preserving the delicate balance of ecosystems. Chernobyl had become an unexpected refuge for wildlife, a place where species could thrive without human encroachment. Yet the poacher's presence today reminded everyone that vigilance was essential, even in a sanctuary. Eric hoped that sharing the footage would raise awareness about the importance of such conservation areas and the challenges they faced. Later that evening, after the team had returned, Eric reviewed the footage he'd captured. The video of the mother bear reuniting with her cub and the poacher's retreat would create a powerful narrative. As he watched, he noted the subtle details: the mother bear's careful, almost human-like gestures, the cub's initial fear turning to relief, and the palpable teamwork among the rescuers. He decided that he would collaborate with the conservation organization to use this footage in educational campaigns. They could emphasize the importance of protecting vulnerable ecosystems and the critical role of conservationists and volunteers who dedicated their lives to this cause. In the following days, as the team monitored the bears from a distance, Eric found himself increasingly moved by their story. He felt an immense sense of gratitude for being able to witness and document such an intimate and vulnerable moment. He knew the footage could be a tool for change, a way to remind people of the importance of conservation. The mother bear and her cub were more than just animals. They were symbols of resilience, love, and the natural world's ability to heal, even in the most unlikely places. Eric's thoughts turned to the future. He envisioned a time when more people would understand the critical balance that sanctuaries like Chernobyl maintained. With every new generation of bears, wolves, and other species finding refuge there, the zone was slowly evolving into an unprecedented symbol of environmental recovery. And with the poachers driven away, he felt a renewed sense of purpose to continue advocating for these animals and their habitats. As he packed away his equipment and prepared his report, Eric realized that he, too, had been deeply affected by this rescue. The bear cub's survival against the odds, the mother's devotion, and the team's dedication had left an indelible mark on him. He felt grateful for his role in protecting these bears and committed to ensuring that stories like theirs reached as many people as possible. His footage would not only raise awareness but hopefully inspire others to support conservation, reinforcing the idea that even the smallest actions could make a difference in the world's most delicate environments. In the end, the day's events were a reminder that every rescue, every act of compassion, contributed to a larger mission, a mission to coexist peacefully with nature and to protect the wonders of the world, one animal at a time.